Good evening. How is everybody doing? Where did all the comments go? What the heck? There were comments here. I saw them. Did somebody try to comment so I can see what the deal is? Sure, this is what? Sure, this is okay. Well, I don't know what happened. That's so weird. I've never had that happen before. I saw the Raging Tomato. Sarah was here first. So, hello, ma'am. Thank you for coming over out of your sphere of YouTube to say hi. Lake, good to see you. Vern, as always. Hippie's here. Sand Dollar. Johnny, go Bears. Go Colts. Colts won. What are we at now? Second in our AFC South. What's our what's that called? Like we're 1-2 now. No, we're more than that. How much are we, guys? We beat the Bengals. We beat one other team. We lost our first game. Now we won this one. It's all fuzzy. Now I'm going to have to look it up because it's going to bother me. Yeah, AFC South. We're behind the Texans, who are 2-1. We are 1-2. And we have, yeah. We beat the Bengals. The Texans beat us. The Packers beat us. And we beat the Bears. So, yeah. I've decided that it's really hard to research and watch football at the same time. So I'm probably not going to try that again. I didn't get to really watch much of the football game unless somebody in the room yelled out and then I paid attention. But yeah. Yeah, like the Patriots. Hey, Fiend. How are you, sir? Royal Wee, hello. Sandler, Jerry Rocks, Georgina, good to see you here. Okay, this is, I don't even know if I can get it in one whole stream because unlike other creators, I am not good at picking things out to summarize. Like, I'm not good at it. And plus, I don't feel like I have the qualifications to do so. So I have put together every document that I could find. I did word searches in all the documents from back to March of this year to present, ending with Judge Gold's final last order on September 9th, I think, where they have talked about digital forensics, pinging, geolocating, geofencing, cell phone, all of that. I just did, and I put all the documents together in a timeline of how they all fall because, if you just read the, like Cecil's testimony, for instance, on August 1st, you don't really get a full picture of like what was going on before that by each side, the defense team of Richard Allen and the state. So I figured we would just like do it because it's a group I'm in. I hope I can name them. I think I have before. It's okay. I think Delphi Dilemma. they are just like everybody in there just asks, and there's representations of all. There's no one that is just assholes in there, and like everybody's just having intelligent conversations and not trying to like demand that everyone listen to them or that they're right. That's what I appreciate. It's just like, back and forth. People don't necessarily agree, but there's nothing disrespectful. Like I don't think I've seen anything disrespectful in the group to date. So there is a guy in there, and I won't name him for privacy, but he did some research on the iPhone 6S and iPhones in 2017 and like what was going on with them. And so that was kind of what inspired this whole thing, because I just wanted to find answers. And what he wrote about was pretty enlightening, because like all that stuff has been coming up. Like, did the phone just magically turn on? Like, what was going on? What will be revealed later? All that kind of jazz. And what have they been talking about for months now? There may be some stuff prior to March, but I didn't look past March, because it was like the Franks 3 was newly discovered evidence, and that's when it named the geofencing. So I figured I would just stay right there and then go forward. So yeah, civil discussions are extremely rare. Yeah, yeah. I love them though. I don't know if you saw it, Fiend, but like I know that we had kind of gone live, and I know we have like differing opinions, but I really like to go debate civilly with people that disagree with me. I think that's where we can learn the most, and our audience can learn the most. And, some things people will just have to agree to disagree. Some things are just, these are the facts. And then there's things that are arguable about interpretation of those facts. So, I'm always open to discourse. Hey, Crimezilla. Good to see you here. Rescue. Crystal, Blue Persuasion. All the names on here. Okay. All right. Let's get rolling. That's not it. Oh, I think I have to share the entire screen, because if I go off the screen, you won't be able to see what I'm doing. Like last night, all you guys saw was my picture and not any of my other stuff. Hold on. Let me tell my daughter where I am. Okay. I didn't realize she was coming home tonight. So, hey, Jason Barnett. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So first off, I just have some terms, like some definitions. So what is digital forensics? It's pretty all standard. In its strictest connotation, the application of computer science and investigative procedures involving the examination of digital evidence. What is a geofence? It's a virtual fences or parameters around a physical location. They detect when someone comes in or leaves the given region. How does it work? How does geofence work? As a user moves around with her phone, a new position is calculated every now and then from a variety of different sources, such as Wi-Fi, cellular data, GPS, and Bluetooth speakers. The phone uses the updated position to check if the user has entered or left any of the geofences. Geofences require no additional hardware or sensors to be installed. However, you can use Bluetooth beacons to improve the accuracy of your geofences. What is a geofence warrant? Geofence warrants are a type of reverse warrant where the government seeks to know who was within a geofence, a defined physical area during a specific time period of time. These are a type of reverse warrant used to identify suspects when none are known without the data gathered by the warrant. The government uses these to compel companies such as Google to produce information about devices interacting with their technology. And just of note, like geofence warrants are really broad, but after the information comes back, you do have to get other warrants in order to, so you have to have probable cause for those to deem whether, say, a phone, I have this happen on Live 360 to where when I first get on it, it'll briefly like show my daughter on I-65, north. And then all of a sudden it will jump way further down I-65 north or something like that, or it'll show her at my house. And then it'll all of a sudden, like, she'll be at 465. When what's happened is I haven't opened the app and like looked. So what starts out is it just shows where she last was, and then it quickly updates to where she is now. And then I can literally track her. And then I can also set my own geofences on there to where if they go within this area, I get a notification that, hey, they're at the school. Hey, they're at the bus stop. Obviously we don't need that anymore. I'm so sad. They're at their dorm room. They're at this boyfriend's house, whatnot. You can set them within like 200 feet, a geofence around a particular place on your map. But you do have to have probable cause to, so say that happened, what I was talking about first. And, they can't prove, there's nothing that's giving them probable cause that phone number stayed in that area for a period of time. So therefore probably not going to be able to get a warrant for it. But obviously, other ones, if they stayed in or if they moved in and around, like those would be ones that they could further take that. But there was I got to cut my dog's nails. That's driving me nuts. He gets them done every Tuesday, but this Tuesday he wasn't feeling very good and I didn't cut them, and now I can hear him. Okay, so what does it mean to ping a phone? The term ping refers to triggering the phone's signal to determine its approximate location. So if you're using the ping command, that means that you want to use GPS or technology to discover the location of the phone. What is latency versus ping? So this is just straight from I don't know where it was from, but anyway, it was from one of the AT&T. That's who my provider is. Latency is the measure of how long it takes information to travel from one device to another and then back again. Well, that was kind of relevant. It is typically measured in milliseconds. The ping, on the other hand, is the signal your device uses to test the latency of its connection to another device. For example, if your ping takes 150 milliseconds to go to its destination and back, you have a latency of 150 milliseconds on that connection. This was this is an article I found from this August 12th of 2024, and it's the Federal Appeals Court finds that geofence warrants are categorically unconstitutional. So, so it's obviously had more to say before I decided to copy it. However, the court found that in 2018, police could have relied on such a warrant in good faith, because again, this is 2024, because geofence technology was novel, and police reached out to other agencies with more experience for guidance. This means that the evidence they obtained will not be suppressed in this is a particular case they were talking about. The second, the court found that even though investigators seek warrants for geofence location data, these searches are inherently unconstitutional. As the court noted, geofence warrants require a provider, almost always Google, to search the entirety of its reserve of location data. Quote, while law enforcement officials have no idea who they are looking for or whether the search will even turn up a result, end quote. Therefore, quote, the quintessential, that word sounds so good, quintessential, problem with these warrants is that they never include a specific user to be identified, only a temporal or geographic location where any given user may turn up post-search. That is constitutionally insufficient. So just a little new info coming out about geofencing warrants. What's a GPS? It stands for Global Positioning System. It's a U.S.-owned utility that provides users with positioning, navigation, and timing, which is position, navigation, and time, PTN. I don't know why they put that on there like that when they just named them all, but whatever. What are the different types of messages for an iPhone? Okay, this definitely comes up especially when we get into Cecil's, First Sergeant Christopher Cecil's testimony and references to his deposition in the filings and other places. So, what are the different types of messages for an iPhone? Because we know that Libby had an iPhone. iMessages can be sent to another iPhone or another Apple device over Wi-Fi or cellular data networks. iMessages support delivery and read receipts and typing indicators. iMessages appear in blue text bubble on your device. When you use iMessage, your conversations are encrypted end to end, so they can't be read while they're sent between devices. So an SMS or an MMS are, what is that message for? Is everything going okay? I should check. You guys probably haven't even been able to hear me or something. Hey, DB. Hey, Heather. Can y'all hear me? Thank you, Yes, Chris. We got him a win today against the Bears. Okay. All right. Yeah. So MMS text message can be sent to non-Apple devices as well as another iPhone. So not only non-Apple devices, but as well as another iPhone or other Apple devices with text message forwarding turned on. So with SMS/MMS, you can send text, photos, and videos, links, and more. SMS messages appear in green text bubble or on your device. So Mr. in there has an Android. I think it's an Android. Yeah. And all I know is it's for the hearing impaired, and the thing drives me absolutely insane. I mean, you can hear it one end of the house to the other. I can hear his phone in the garage. But he's got construction ears, so anyway, I don't know why I decided to share that, but I did. So his will show up in a different color, and it's because he doesn't have iMessaging because he doesn't have an iPhone. So these messages are not encrypted end to end. They're not protected from a third party reading them while they're being sent between devices. Did any of you guys know that? Well, I don't really know what that actually means, but I don't like it. Our carrier provided services. When your device connects to your cellular network, it communicates with your carrier. User identifiers are exchanged from your carrier to authenticate your device. These identifiers could include, but are not limited to, IMEI, IMSI, and current IP address and phone number. So what are cell towers? Cell towers, also called base stations, have electronic equipment and antennas that send and receive signals to and from cell phones. What happens when your phone cannot connect to a tower? So these are just questions I asked the Google machine. And then I sourced them out to make sure that the information I was seeking was in at least 3 sources, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're gathering information. I did not include all 3 sources, but I went with the one that was the easiest to read. But I do source out everything with at least 3 separate sourcing agents on the Google machine. Anyway, so this is from one. It says, when a phone can't connect to a cell tower, it may display a no service message and prevent the user from making calls, sending text messages, and other normal functions. Reasons why a phone might not be able to connect to a cell tower include airplane mode, data turned off, network coverage. The phone might be in an area with a weak or no signal. A carrier's coverage map can help verify signal strength in a location. The weather, fog, storms, all of that can affect your ability for your phone to connect with the cell towers within the circumference of where you are at any given time. And low battery. Low battery can make it harder for the phone to reach the nearest cell tower. Congested network. Cell towers can only handle so many devices at a time, and the signal can become weaker in heavily populated areas. I thought that was interesting because it wasn't something that I had thought about in regards to the search. But if you think about that area and the lack of like really strong, they're cell towers, but they're not as strong as if you were going to be, in Indianapolis or a lot of other places. And that's not unique to just Delphi. That's just country, that's just living in the country. That's rural. I can't say that word. Sorry. Rural. Rural. I can't do it. RURAL areas. But out there that day, so you've got cell towers that aren't, they have them, but they're not as good as other places. And you have to keep in mind, this is in 2017. But there's a lot of people. There was a lot of people out there, and could that have been, I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I just thought it was interesting. That just made my brain think of like, I wonder if that's a possibility with them not being able to handle all the devices that were out there. And then as the devices dwindle down, maybe that's why Libby's phone was able to get SMS, which means it connected to a tower. And then the duplicates would be those people in her life that had iPhones. They also, we just read that iPhone can show up, like a SMS can show up as both. So a blocked antenna, the phone's antenna can be blocked, which can degrade the signal it receives. So because it says degrades, like it can degrade with where the phone, I don't know. I wouldn't think so, because I can be sitting on my phone underneath my leg in my purse, inside of a pocket in my purse, and it still works. So I don't really think that's relevant, but I just wanted to list these things that the Google machine found. So now we're getting into the software that law enforcement uses, the one that we hear throughout all of these, all the way back to Brian Bonner or whatever his name is Celebrate. So they have this whole big long list. I'm not going to bore you with reading it, of all that they do. But they, they're just a cutting edge digital forensic solution designed for rapid extraction of comprehensive evidence from the latest Android and iOS devices. They have a whole, there was one that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Celebrate Smart Search. So a single click intelligence for investigators. Oh, that would be so much fun. Safeguards. And then a magnet is one that Cecil, First Sergeant Cecil, talks about. And it's same kind of thing. It's a data analytics software for digital forensics investigation. Theirs is called Magnum Axiom, and it's used to recover, analyze, and report digital evidence from mobile devices and cloud-based applications. Why did I highlight? Oh, I highlighted Gray Key because Augur in Cecil's testimony, she just like kept saying it was your Gray Key report, and he was like, "My what?" So like, well, maybe that's where she got that. I don't know. Okay, so what is a cell phone data dump? Because they said that, because Cecil had brought that up. It's like, oh, I think I know why Bunner's is different, because he within that first few weeks of the crime, he did a data dump from her device and iCloud. So what is a phone data dump? It's a phone dump of also known as a cell phone dump or mobile phone dump, is a process where all available data from a smartphone is extracted for analysis. This data can include call logs, text messages, emails, photos, videos, application data, browsing history, and much more. And we do see this a lot in cases. This is what nailed Stephen Stern's lickety split, Rex Heuermann. The list goes on and on. This is a very helpful investigative tool. So what is an iCloud? So iCloud is just a copy and that continuously updates of your data across all of your Apple devices. So can an iCloud data dump retrieve deleted files? Of course, it's possible to recover deleted files from an iPhone. I typed in iPhone 6, and before they're overwritten by new data. First, use iPhone data recovery software to scan out iPhone 6 and check if the deleted videos can be scanned out. If yes, you can easily get them back. Note, if you delete iCloud data, like if you delete stuff on your phone, it's still stored, and then you delete it in iCloud as well. It's still there for 30 days. I think that's what happened to old Stephen Stearns. 30 days before it's permanently gone. So this is some issues that there was literally, it was called like Battery Gate in 2017, specific to January and February and December of 2016, 17. So early last year, responding to a widespread clamor that iPhone 6, iPhone 6S, and SE batteries performance was significantly declining over time, Apple issued a software update that throttled the processor performance of the handsets, and the Cupertino giant, I don't know what that is. I'm sure someone tech savvy in the chat does, but didn't disclose that the update would affect handset performance. It was a miscalculation. The slowdowns were obvious, prompting yet further hue and cry from users. In December, Apple admitted that the update purposefully slowed performance. Customers were less than ecstatic with the battery issues and subsequent handling of the problem. So the company apologized and lowered the price of the batteries replacements for affected models from $79 to $29. How nice of them. Apple also said that it was, as far as it was concerned, the update did its job. So this is talking about the ISO's 10 update, which, you know, we hear all that stuff about Libby, you know, resetting her phone because it was having issues. That's more so why I felt like this was kind of relevant. And then obviously there's, I didn't want to steal his work product, but the guy in the Delphi Dilemma group had posted some more in-depth research that he had done about these issues and things that were happening with iPhones and updates and things running in the background that can slow your phone down or, you know, interfere with, you know, cell tower, all that kind of stuff. And but this is what I found on my own. I didn't want to steal his stuff, but he inspired it. As far as the software updated in January of 2017 from iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, iPhone 6, and it names all of the phones. So in February of 2017, we updated our ISO's 10.2.1 README notes to let customers know that the update improves power management during peak workloads to avoid unexpected shutdown. So peak workloads is an important word to remember there. And the power management and slowing down your device. And then they admitted later that they do that on purpose. They confirmed in 2017, they confirmed that they did slow down some iPhones because, but said it only did so to prolong the life of the device. Many customers had long suspected that Apple slowed down older iPhones to encourage people to upgrade with a new one that was released. In 2017, the company confirmed it did slow down some models as they aged, but not to encourage people to upgrade. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. But anyway, it said the lithium ion batteries in the device became less compatible. We need to look into like, what if, like, what is there different batteries in phones now than the lithium ion? And like, what are the effects of like, if that got some water on it? I don't know. Because I know that I've done that where my phone hasn't actually died, but it didn't work right. Has that ever happened? There was one time where I dropped it in a body of water and, you know, it went completely off and I had to put it in, you know, tried all the things and it did actually work, the rice thing. But I had to manually turn it on. But there's also been times where like it just happened at the pool where, an unexpected child decided to, you know, do a big cannonball into the pool. And my phone was on like the deck that's surrounding the pool. And it just got, I mean, soaked. And I didn't realize it. So it sat there soaking in and then it wasn't off. It didn't turn off. Has this ever happened to anybody else? It didn't turn off, but it didn't work. Like I don't know, things weren't working on it right. And then, you know, I took it inside, turned it upside down or turned it over and took the screen thing off and it ended up being fine. I didn't even have to use rice, but I don't know. Has that happened to anybody else before? Let me know. So yeah. So yeah, so they confirmed this, this iPhone, you know, battery thing and then slowing down your thing. And these are the ones that are listed. So setting is only enabled. So it's not something that like, you're not having to go in and set this, right? It's just happening. When the battery begins to degrade and ISOS now offers clearer information to consumers. So, quote, the effects of performance management in these newer models may be less noticeable due to their more advanced hardware and software design. Google. Okay, let's take a little break. Oh my gosh, Lynette, you're back. How are you, Bangs Bud? Aw, and thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you last night for the 2 that I got that I did not see because it was not on the screen, but Burn After Reading sent me one, and I think the other one was from True Sleuth. So I appreciate those last night. I'm sorry I didn't thank you personally during the live. Hey, Sleuthy Goosey. Yeah, it was something within Celebrite. That's one of their terms that I was reading from their website, which I will, after this live is over, I'll put all the links of the research that I found in. I might just try to figure out a way to do what All Eyes on Delphi does. But I'm afraid. Like, I don't know enough about all of this stuff to, like, what if I share my Google Doc and then I don't know. I'm gonna need to ask somebody. I'm gonna ask who's your cold cases. I'll get his opinion before I go do that. But it sure would make my job easier, and it would make it to where you can even just look over what I'm sharing and add to it, and make a copy of it and add to it yourself, or bring up other points or find other research. So I'll ask him about that. DB says it's mainly known for their ability to brute force iPhone unlocks. Oh, okay. It does have extraction tools too, but Cellrite and Axiom. So Axiom is the magnet software, right? Have more frequent updates for extractions than Gray Key Shift. I don't even know. Oh, is this an answer to my thing? What happened? So you probably had a small short between the screen and the device. Oh, that interrupts the capacitative touch connection. Okay, well, that makes sense. So it wasn't actually interfering with my cellular service, Wi-Fi or cell tower. It was just my screen. That makes sense. Oh, really? Aw, thank you. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, so now we're getting into the actual March 13th filings. Okay, right. So it probably just dried out pretty quick and was fine. Okay, so it doesn't, is that what you were saying? Like, yes, no, it doesn't interfere with your connection, because that's what I was kind of wondering, and I literally don't know. So I was just trying to, like, think of things, and that was something that when I read that, it kind of triggered that memory of my phone. So I'm gonna let him LOL, yes, no. I know. I'm like, I did not ask that question to get a very good answer, and that's on me. But I'm pretty sure he's saying that it doesn't interfere with the cellular connection. It just interferes with how you can interact with your phone screen, your touch screen. Okay. Okay, so this is the original third Franks. Oh, well, this is anyway. So you can see there, I do have it. I started out by copying. Now I know why All Eyes on Delphi did that. Putting them into Google Docs, because when you copy it, it looks all wonky. So I started out doing that on my own. And I did quite a few of these like that. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I just simply used hers, and while I may not completely agree with like her interpretations of the information sometimes, which is bound to happen, as we read these, is people have an interpretation of what they think they are reading. And most two peoples are not going to be alike. So, especially when it comes to things that could be argued that aren't, facts, just, the facts. But so I did end up using hers later on because she's already done it. And then she's added links, and her Twitter page. I have the link ready to add after this airs, but yeah, like I know that I think it's you too, Sleuthy Goosey, that puts all that stuff together. Like, it's crazy how efficient they are at it. Like, I don't, and not just this case, like Sleuthy's got other cases like Karen Reed, and which is just massive amounts of filings and hearings and motions, and I don't know how in the hell she keeps up with it, because most of the time when you request and it's an ongoing, I'm having this issue with Sullivan County, Indiana right now for our very own Indiana's Sarah Boone. We have one. She put her son in a suitcase, and you want to talk about like getting into some real wild out like theories of why they killed him. He was a demon and they're witches. And I mean, this case is wild, and her filings are incessant. I mean, I don't even know how to read these but I followed this case. This little boy's body was left in a Las Vegas suitcase in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, like literally sold. I don't even know how they found it. It's very strange, but on their way across, they ended up, from, was it Georgia or the Carolina, like somewhere, on one coast, traveled through Indiana, put this little boy who died horrifically at the hands of these two women, one of them being his mother, who is the one that is, they just tracked her down, so the little boy was unidentified for quite a long time. I'm quite a while. They finally identify him. And then now they put out warrants for Don Coleman and Duane Anderson. And Don Coleman, like, she fessed up right quick. Like, yeah, she had they have some really wild, like, I don't know. I think that while I don't think Perlmutter is very helpful in a lot of stuff, like, and even for these two, because they're not, it's not like they are from a uncivilized village that gets transplanted into Western culture, and we try to interpret that information. So these two, I mean, she's got a bunch, she's an entity. I mean, it's wild. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this because that's not what I'm here for. But, okay. So after Frank's 2 were filed, just before the defense was kicked off the case in October of 2023, the defense received certain geofencing evidence that the defense did not have an opportunity to fully examine, explore, or discuss with its experts. Just after the defense was reinstated on the case in January of 2024, it received certain discovery in the form of September 22nd, 2023 report authored by Sergeant Jerry Holman, purportedly memorializing. Do you guys know how hard it was for me not to fix these errors? An interview Holman had with former Purdue professor named Turco. I would really like to know why he was not subpoenaed for these hearings. I think it would have been a perfect opportunity to like get that out there more clearly than just the back and forth filings from the state and the defense. Anyway, so number 7 is both the geofencing evidence and Holman's September 22nd, 2023 report provided new information that supports the defense request for Frank's hearing. Specifically, the defense received certain geofencing evidence that at least persons were in or around the crime scene at the time while the murders were taking place. So persons were in or around the crime scene, according to law enforcement timelines. And none of the owners of the phones have any connection to Richard Allen. This geofencing evidence would provide evidence of any of the following scenarios. So these are scenarios, the state filing. A, those persons walking with the phones are witnesses that would have observed the murders as they were taking place, and none of them have identified Richard Allen. Or B, those persons walking with the phones were witnesses who observed nothing. Like I said, I went through the filings and I tried to get before and after each time that each filing had a back and forth from the state and the defense on certain tag words that had to do with digital forensics. So obviously there's more in these filings that talk about other things, but I just wanted to kind of get specific on just this one topic. So this is on April 3rd of 2024, and this is the state's response to the defense's third motions for Franks. So this is their response to what I just read. Specifically, the defense claims that one, Sheriff Tony Liggett, concealed from, so remember what a Franks is. A Franks is a hearing to suppress the fruits of the search warrant, okay? So they want the search warrant of Richard Allen's house suppressed from the jury. So that's the purpose. Just keep that in mind as we read this, of like what the purpose for each one of these, you know, motions and filings and Franks and everything. So he concealed this from Judge Diener that at least 3 phones were moving in and around the crime scene at the times when the murders would have been taking place, and that 2, the way that Lieutenant Jerry Holman memorialized his interview with Turco should cause alarm about what law enforcement chose to include or not include in their reports. So he's taking a quote out of, you know, what they wrote and responding to it. Issue 1. The Sheriff Tony Liggett failed to make the judge aware that geofencing data showed at least 3 persons in and around the crime scene at the times of the murders. In our case, the defense is alleging that the crime was committed by several individuals involved in Odinism. The defense has filed several motions with his theory contained in the motions. The defense continues to promote this theory to the public with no evidence to support that theory. The defense have come to the point where they are making false statements in their motions in a continued effort to support the theory. This is one of those occasions. The defense claims that the geofencing data shows 3 phones in the area of the crime scene when the murders occurred. The defense admittedly speculates that a map with 3 phone numbers in geofence, and I could have swore we had those. I thought the defense attached them as exhibits. Maybe that we weren't supposed to see them and we did, and then they took them off. I don't know. I could not find them. When the murders occurred, the defense admittedly speculates that the map with the 3 phone numbers in geofencing data, I know there's a maps, but I could have swore that the phone numbers were left on them, but it could be a thing. Numbers in geofencing data that provides evidence of any of the 3 scenarios. 1, that people are walking around and witness the murders and none of them identified Richard Allen. 2, the persons walking around saw nothing and the murders did not happen on February 13th of 2017. Or 3, the persons walking around committed the murders. This is, of course, promotes the defense's theory Unfortunately, the defense do not understand how to read or interpret geofencing data, and once again have misinterpreted the information and have put misinformation in their motion. So again, you're not going to prove bad faith with this because the lawyers know how to lawyer. The defense was advised on March 4th, 2023, the state witnesses specializing in geofencing data would be ISP First Sergeant Christopher Cecil, FBI Agent Kevin Horan, and ISP Sergeant Pete Glogonza, something. However, the defense filed their third motion for Frank's hearing based on newly discovered evidence, end quote. That was available during the first discovery disclosure in October of 2023, and in the second discovery disclosure after counsel was reinstated. The state witnesses for geofencing data interpretations would testify that AT&T collects data from devices to include geolocation data. AT&T geolocation information is gathered from three sources: GPS first, known Wi-Fi triangulation locations second, and cell sites or timing advance, which occurs when a signal is set for the cell tower to the device, sent from the cell tower to the device, and then back to the tower. GPS is received. GPS, if received, can be very good with an estimated accuracy range of 3 to 15 meters. Wi-Fi or triangulation estimated ranges vary between 15 and 100 meters, and cell sites or timing advance can range up to several thousand meters. The cell sites or timing advance is inaccurate because the geofencing data estimates where the phone is at based on how long it takes the signal to go from the tower to the cell phone and back again. So that's why I brought up, now I forget the word, latency. This means that the device can be 3 to 15 meters from the pinpoint of the map up to several thousand meters, depending on how the information was collected from the device to the tower. When interpreting geolocation, remember, this is still the state's response. This isn't my words, and this isn't, this is just reading these. So interpreting geolocation data you can only consider that the device is somewhere in or near to the estimated range area that AT&T provides. Thus, if AT&T geolocation in a geofence provided a Wi-Fi location with a center point on the Carroll County Courthouse, one could deduce that the location is in a range of 15 to 100 meters from or around that center point. In that same scenario, including a cell site or timing advance location, the actual location of the device could be in a range of 1,000 meters plus from where the pinpoint is located. That could include the entire town of Delphi and beyond. When a person is in a RURAL area, oftentimes GPS and Wi-Fi locations services are not available. Therefore, AT&T must resort to cell site location data. This is not an accurate way to pinpoint the location of a device. Further, geofencing does not track movement. So the fact that a pinpoint moves within a certain area is not indicative of a phone moving within the area. The map that the defense refers to is actually geofence data from AT&T. The points, so it's not that someone, remember how they were like, someone took the time to like create this map, but it doesn't go back to there's no like investigative like data. There's no report. There's no nothing. We just have this map. So he's saying that was created by AT&T. So the points on the map represent GPS longitude and latitude points provided as part of a geofence from AT&T. Each latitude and longitude point has a range of uncertainty. The point is not where the 5,000 meters away from the point in any direction. The point has no date time associated with them on the map. And so the map does not indicate what date and time the phone hit on that pinpoint. And this information was provided to the defense in spreadsheet form from discovery. They either chose to ignore the information or did not understand how to read the information. Now, I saved all these because they're going to go back and forth. The defense is going to go back and forth. These are all filings before the judge. So this is all what she's reading from the defense and the state, and they're going back and forth on these points of word search of these documents. That makes sense. The defense's conclusion that 3 devices were found in or near the murder scene location at the time of the murders and what geofencing data means is an inaccurate evaluation or interpretation that is not supported by an analysis by someone with specialized training or knowledge in geofencing data. The defense's conclusion fails to consider the estimated range of those devices in the AT&T records and how the pinpoint data was collected. That's confusing because AT&T, that's like AT&T, there's Verizon, there's, right? Somebody in chat, help me out here. So there could be, they're providers, like AT&T is a cellular, like internet, like Wi-Fi, whatever provider. Am I making any lick of sense with what I'm trying to ask but don't know how to ask? If this was what we saw on that map that the defense showed, like if that is just AT&T, would that mean that everybody has it seems like a big assumption that everybody has AT&T, or am I like missing something of like the cell tower is owned by AT&T? Like, what am I missing on that part? But let me finish reading that and then we'll check with the chat. So further, although phones may have a pinpoint on a map, he's so redundant in this thing. I can't even imagine trying to read these. Like if I was a judge, it's like, oh my God, let's get to the working point, sir. Both sides though, like, let's be fair with the Shakespearean authors over there. And then this redundancy, like, I feel like he said the same thing like 4 different ways within this filing, you know? Okay. The defense further fails to state that the owners of those phones were interviewed and cleared by investigation. This was certainly Sheriff Liggett's understanding when he signed the affidavit of probable cause. So the state is saying right here, like, that the owners of those phones were interviewed and cleared by investigators. Now, we have not yet is there any dismissive words of like they may be, like approximately, possibly? I'm not seeing any. No geolocation expert assisting in the investigation concluded that cell phones were in or around the crime scene when the murders occurred. The defense further fails to state that the owners of those phones were interviewed and cleared by investigators. Okay, so he's not putting this forth as a hypothesis or a possibility, or this could have, those dismissive words to where that's what I call lawyering. This is a statement of fact, and not saying that we deserve, because the public doesn't deserve to have the offer of proof of this, but is this something that Horan testified to? He's a state expert on this topic as well as Cecil. So did they present an exhibit with this particular thing? Is this something that maybe the defense in the discovery know, and the expert that they have for these things, but that we don't know, the public, but that may be coming out in a trial, because that would be, but then they wanted but then you're just like, you argue with yourself about this case, literally is circular arguing, because then they, wanted to suppress the fruits. That was a motion in limine, right? That this information would not be presented to the trial, even though I think we're misinterpreting that part, because I don't quite understand it, and hopefully I will when we read it all together. So the defense should be required to provide reliable statements or sworn affidavits of persons properly qualified to interpret geofencing data to support their claim that the omitted information, if included in the probable cause affidavit, would cause the judge to deny the search warrant and request for Richard Allen's because that's what the Franks are for, is for Judge Gall to deny the fruits of the search warrant, that they did not get that under, that they did bad faith. They omitted things that Judge Diener needed to know, which, I'm sorry, it's not there. Any way you argue it, this way to Sunday, which is today is Sunday. So it's not there to get the search warrant, the fruits of the search warrant thrown out. It's just not, regardless of the mistakes and how we feel about them. If you really read the Indiana rules of evidence, the trial court, like, there's a plethora of information that you can gather that is in there, and I'm telling you, it's full of loopholes for these very reasons. Do I like it? No, I don't. But it just is. It's a judicial system as a whole, not just in Indiana, and not just in Carroll County. But any case you look at, and if you read appeals for fun, like I do read them for fun, especially when it gets to a federal level, oh, you'll have just 100 and some pages worth of them even saying, well, even still, we do define that the defendant in this state, this, person versus the state, fill in whichever state it is, we do find that this information should have been known to the trial, the jury. But what ends up determining it really comes down to, if the jury had, just like with the judge, if the jury had known this information prior to their guilty verdict of this person, would they still have found him guilty based on the totality of the case that was presented at trial? And so you see the loophole there of yes, we do find that this was inappropriate. This should not have been suppressed from the jury, or this should have been told to the jury. They should have known this information, but it wasn't enough to outweigh the actual guilty verdict by the jury. So, yeah. You really get into that when cases go all the way up the chain, because you got to think of where they start out and where they end, especially on, a life without parole or a significant, they go through the appeals in a very a systematic process. And sorry, I need to cough. When it gets to those higher courts is when you really get oh my gosh. But with appeals, you can usually start out at the beginning and then go to the very end, and then they'll conclude themselves of like all of the stuff that all the different justices have said and all of the different hashing it out. So you can get the beginning of an appeal in a higher court that will tell you the facts of the case. And it's just a footnote of that. And then you can skip to the bottom and get a footnote of all of the conclusions in the middle, which are extensive. But I'm telling you, there's loopholes everywhere, you know, and that to me is one of them. But I can also see where it is very pertinent to have, because say there, you know, like one little thing, like a jury knowing that someone, one of them that was like kind of important, that I just read not that long ago, was about that it shouldn't have been suppressed from the jury that the murdered victim was having an affair. And then there was like actions by the affair man. Like he didn't show up to work that day. He didn't, there was a lot of things, like circumstantially, there was a lot of things of like, whoa, you know. And then there was another case where it was like, dude, this is so similar. I'm trying to like separate them in my mind. But yeah, it was basically determined that, you know, even though these are all things that were pointed out and discussed pre-trial, the evidence would still lead a jury, a reasonable jury, to find him guilty beyond, you know, reasonable doubt. So yeah, I mean, but you know, when you read that, you're just like, holy shit, like that sounds like information that would be, you know, and we all do. We have this idea of what the justice system and the judiciary orders and how everything is run and how everything happens. And we have this idea of what we think it should be, but that's not actually what it really is. And that's sad, you know? But anyway, okay. So now we're moving back. So the defense is, this is April 5th. So they filed this on April 3rd, I think. So they were busy in April and May. So this is April 5th. The defense's reply to the prosecution's response to Third Frank's memorandum. Hey, Four Pits. Hey, Lisa. You manimal. Good to see you. Al on the prowl. Hi, sir. Sleuthy. I even took a class. Now, my background is kind of cult-like. I didn't go to school, really. I went to a little bit of first grade, and then I was pulled out of school, and I call it no school because we didn't really do anything until 8th grade. And then I have dyslexia as well, but I never learned how to do spreadsheets. And I took a class on how to do spreadsheets. And I don't know if it's something with like the dyslexia or what, but I felt like I was able to work on the spreadsheets and add in the data and the links and everything. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have it down. I practiced and did some on my own outside of the class. I tried to do one for my taxes. No, totally done. Forgot how to do it. If you ever offer, I will pay you for a spreadsheet making class. I've asked several people, so I will pay for it. But it's so helpful when you can have a spreadsheet that you can like search and make graphs and compare data and make pies charts. And I did it for another case, the Tanya Frazier case. And the analyst is the one that gave us the lessons in spreadsheets and then gave us access to this case file. Like, it was so wild. There was like a group of 5 of us. It was one of the coolest things that I've been a part of within the true crime genre. And it was through CrimeCon online. And I made a complete like map for it. But I don't share it because it's case file that I don't, like, I don't feel that it would be right, but it was so interesting, and autopsy, and then even down to the comparison of like the wounds on Tanya Frazier's neck. And then we had, what is his first name? Is it Joseph Morgan Scott come in and like talk to us? And then Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick. I mean, it was just like, this is the coolest shit ever. So I definitely do think CrimeCon, especially the online part, is so worth the yearly cost. But anyway, let me know. coldtruthpodcast@gmail.com is my email. Yes. Oh, I didn't see him. I didn't go. If you're talking to me, DB, but I found where 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 different. Oh no, 5. A True Crime Grit as well. So 5 people were there, and I listen. I tried to listen to murder shits like notes, and I can't. It's like it causes like and it's not so bad, because I feel like when people listen to my voice, they probably feel the same way, like, ugh. How some sounds just make you feel like you're having a full-on like panic attack. I tried to I couldn't do it, but I know that they spoke of it because I looked at the transcripts as well. So yeah, he testified, and it doesn't seem like anybody really was able. I don't know if people just weren't able to understand, or if it was just like a lull in the day of where and people, like, some weren't there. It was like, I think it was like after lunch or something, like it just seemed like, nope, the notes that I found were not very good. That's why I want the transcripts for his testimony, because I think there's a lot of information to be gleaned from that. And but the defense did not request them, so for us, the public, to request them, I think the last I saw from someone that had requested was like, like, you're not on a priority list like a defense team would be. So you're not going to get these until, sometime in October, before I can get around to you in the list of like the priorities that I have as the transcriber. So if the defense had asked for them, then that moves them to the top of the pile, because they're trying to prepare for trial. But because they didn't ask for them, that means we will be getting them when the trial is happening. Maybe a little bit before, but like maybe a week, 2 weeks, according to Jody. Okay, so this is the defense's reply to the prosecution's response. I'm sorry, it's not funny. To the third Frank's memorandum. And just so you can see, this is where her document is, and she's just simply put it into a Word, Google Doc, so that you can just not have to open up all the filings and read the whole things. So this is a portion of this filing, though. Okay, so included in this discovery, received nearly 10 months late, was Liberty German's phone dump, including the famous Down the Hill video. This phone dump contained very interesting information that the defense had approximately 1 month to investigate before the prosecutor requested the defense to be kicked off the case. The defense should have had this key piece of evidence to review and provide to its experts no later than December 14th of 2022. H. On or about October 6th of 2023, the defense received geofencing evidence. The prosecutor requested the defense kicked off the case only days after the defense received this evidence. After the Indiana Supreme Court reinstated the defense team received the geofencing data in the form of charts and a map on or about January 30th of 2024. The defense then took that information to its experts for review. Why didn't they call their expert? In the motion in limine, like, why did they not call their expert to go against the state's experts, Horan and Cecil? I don't understand. I really don't. They have the money. Because of the prosecutor's late discovery of the geofencing evidence, because you got to remember, the burden of proof in a trial is not on the defense. But when you're in a motion in limine and like you're trying to get the things that, like these argument points, we've seen it. I know all y'all watch other trials and motions in limine. Like, you know how this works. This is a tit for tat, a back and forth. And the judge is going to make the ruling on that. And you agree with it or not, going back and forth about these topics for months. So the defense then took that information to its expert for review. Who is this expert and why did they not testify? I would like to know. Because the prosecutor's late discovery of the geofencing, the evidence before getting kicked off the case, the defense only had the geofencing evidence for 6 days before this court ordered the defense to stop working on the case. Again, almost 10 months late. After getting back on the case, the defense has now had just over 2 months to analyze this. And this was, when I was doing this was other word searches that I thought I could find, is that I could do comparisons of. I know that most people find this stuff boring and maybe they can just, hopefully they still listen for like at least the sake of not someone's opinion. But doing, word search of all the documents and pulling everything pertinent, like that pertaining to the late discovery, the withheld discovery, like ex parte, just certain key points and pulling them out of the back and forth from the defense and the state and the judge for however many months they go back. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. The defense should have had this evidence on or before December 14th, and therefore it is doing its best to analyze this geofencing data and has based its interpretation of said evidence on its technology experts, who was providing opinions without the benefit of law enforcement reports that interpret the data. It appears that law enforcement has not written a single report that interprets their geofencing data. This court has since denied funds for the defense technology expert to conduct further analysis on, well, this might have been I might just answer my own damn question. Attempting to understand the geofencing data, the defense asked for any reports from law enforcement that interpret the data and map. that the defense located in discovery. The prosecutor claims that no reports or notes exist relating to geofence. No, I think he said that it was from AT&T. So just keep that in mind right there. But the defense can't be sure. A dismissive, they're not making this a definitive claim. There's what do you call those? I just call them lawyering, where they're giving themselves an out of making a false statement in a court document. In the past, the prosecutor told the defense that no notes or reports existed as it relates to Liberty's phone dump, only to then be handed notes from the prosecution's law enforcement expert minutes before the deposition began, giving the defense little or no time to incorporate those notes into its deposition preparation. When the defense asked for the names of the geofencing expert that the prosecution would call, the prosecutor initially refused to identify their expert, claiming it was not his job to provide that information. The prosecutor then stated he would talk to his investigator, Steve Mullen, then rather than simply identifying the law enforcement officer who analyzed the geofencing evidence, the prosecutor provided the name of 4 possible experts. And I think he did this because he didn't want to get backed into a corner of making a statement. Of I'm gonna have, I don't know which one, because if you listen to Cecil's testimony versus what little we know of what Haran did, they can only testify what they were told to do, what their expertise is, and what they were told to analyze. They can't go out of that and like Cecil, he can't talk about them being abducted. Auger led him into that, and he didn't fall for it, but it was McLeland that said it. And then he says, I believe that's, right. But again, I can only analyze that, this is what the phone did. I have no idea what happened, outside of what I'm telling you about this. The defense knows that, the state knows that, the judge knows that. So why did they do that? Who was that for? Ask yourselves, who was that for? Where did I leave off? When the defense asked for the names of the geofencing expert that the prosecution would call, the prosecutor initially refused. Okay, I already read that. Now, apparently, in his response motion, the prosecutor is claiming there are 3 geofencing experts he may use, but still has not identified which expert put the map together or provided him the information he used. So I want to know, these are questions that I'm highlighting for myself as I go through these. So was the answer from McLeland the AT&T thing? Is that a answer that makes sense? Is that what ends up happening later on in chronological order? Will that be something that comes up during the trial? Is that suppressed from the jury? In his motion, the prosecutor also provides purported information that he has apparently obtained from one of 3 law enforcement officers who apparently has analyzed the data and relayed that information to the prosecutor, thus providing proof that the prosecutor has actually known the name of the exact geofencing expert who will be explaining law enforcement's interpretation of the data, but has refused to provide the name of that specific geofencing expert to the defense. The names should be in the discovery. Rather than simply identifying the proper law enforcement officer for the defense to depose concerning the geofence evidence, again, evidence that the prosecutor provided to the defense 10 months late, who put the map together, the prosecutor continues to conceal the identity of the actual expert, only narrowing it down to 3 possible candidates. Are they talking about the same things in these? The defense has no way of knowing if anything that the prosecutor claims concerning the interpretation of the geofencing data is correct, because no reports have been provided that substantiate the prosecution's claim in his response to the third Frank's notice. Okay. That might be a half of an answer. Please note on pages 2 and 3 of his response briefs that the prosecution has failed to provide the name of a single authoritative report that supports his claims as to the accuracy or inaccuracy of the geofencing data, while the defense has provided 126 exhibits to back up their claim in Frank's 1 alone. Okay, Frank's 1 didn't have anything to do with this. So great job, but it's not. That doesn't apply to like what they've turned over with this. I do think they turned over some exhibits though. Apparently, the prosecution simply expects the court to rely on and believe in the prosecution's claims, and that the prosecutor, has asserted on page 2 and 3 of his response brief concerning geofencing evidence without providing a single shred of proof whatsoever that his claims are true. That's why I asked earlier, the AT&T thing, like, did he show the document? He's not required to show them in the court documents. And I think that no one wants to try their case outside of the media. Very, very few, especially prosecutors. They don't want to try it before it even starts. Hence why Ashley Garth got out on bond when the charge is murder. And that's what he said. Drinsky said in a meeting, I was in there with Cheryl after the bombshell was dropped that she's going to be getting a bond on murder, when we were all under the assumption that there's no bond on murder. Well, there is. If the defense asks for a meaningful bond hearing or a motion to let bail hearing, which was granted by the judge in this case, and then it was later canceled and turned into a suppression hearing on the same date that the motion to let bail hearing was supposed to take place. They decided that they wanted to do a motion to suppress the fruits of the search warrant, and instead. So it is possible to be a would it would have helped us all out if they had to follow through with that. And maybe, Drinsky was like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not the affidavit, I have to prove beyond what I wrote in the probable cause affidavit to indict her. I have to, there are witnesses, and there was witnesses there ready to go in law enforcement that day. So I think it was kind of a last minute negotiation with the defense in order to, let her out. And they set a bond, and it sucked. It sucked. You know how weird it is to like cover a case? Like, I was very vocal about the guilt of Ashley Garth, and still am to this day. Then she's just, let alone like living so close to the family. And then when we showed up to like the trial, her own murder trial, she was walking in with us. Like, it was bizarre. It was weird. Okay, so at this time, the state of Indiana has provided the defense a map constructed by someone that shows that 3 phones were in the area of where the bodies were found, moving in and around and near the crime scene at the time that the murders would have been committed, according to the state of Indiana's timeline. Someone took the time to take data, so they're just repeating themselves. Like, in this portion, it just didn't feel like it was a response to what all the redundancy of what the state said. There's holding fast to the 3 phones and the like. But we're still not getting to the bottom of it. And construct that map using only 3 phone numbers and not the multiple. So is this just, is it the reason why there's only 3 phone numbers is because it's an AT&T provider? That takes me back to the question that I asked probably an hour ago. Because you got to think if like they subpoenaed for Verizon, they subpoenaed for, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank on all the other providers out there. I don't know. In his response motion, the state of Indiana claims that the owners of the phones found on the geofencing map in and around the crime scene were interviewed and then dismissed as suspects. The defense has requested the state of Indiana to provide any report, video, or document memorializing any and all interviews of those persons whose phones were found on the geofencing map. Now we can go right back up to what we were talking about with geofencing warrants, okay? And how they obtained the data from all of the different cell phone providers. The state of Indiana has not provided said information or indicated with such information may be found in the vast discovery. The first the defense has heard of these people were interviewed is in the state of Indiana's response motion filed April 3rd, 2024. Until the defense can depose the correct geofencing expert and analyze the geofencing expert's reports, the defense can only base its conclusions on what the state of Indiana has provided to the defense thus far. The defense made it very clear in its third Franks notice that the defense did not have any reports or information that contradicted its belief that 3 phones were in the area of the murders, but that the defense could not be convinced otherwise once the prosecution provided more information or the name of its geofencing expert. Additionally, because the defense has no further funds for our tech expert, the reliance on the prosecutor to provide reports and to provide the same of the correct geofencing expert is even more vital. I'd like an update on the funds for this. For the variety of experts needed for Richard Allen's defense and does not know if the tech expert can be afforded even with the money raised thus far. What? Money raised thus far. Are they talking about the online money raised? So you don't raise any money. For one, it's in the defense. You know, they get from the state of Indiana's defense fund is a percentage of what Carroll County, it's not just Carroll County, it's also the state of Indiana and the defense fund. And I think it's broken down into there's a whole report on it of a state of Indiana, something meeting, I don't know, some name meeting. And they were wanting, they need stuff to put in their graphs. These are finance people, and you can't just turn over a blanketed statement of I need money for this. You have to fill out all the proper paperwork, and then you get your refund. But if you don't do that, then it's just going to get rejected. But then once they did that, then they got paid. So, and I don't know. I think it's just that's interesting that he said the money raised thus far. And this is in April, remember? So geofencing is a very complicated discipline and requires experts to train the attorneys so that they can ask good probing questions that will then help the lawyers and jury understand better the geofencing evidence. In his motion, the prosecutor assailed the defense's attempts to understand the geofencing data. The defense freely admits that they are lawyers and not geofencing experts, and furthermore wish that they had accessibility to experts like the prosecution that could be called at no cost and consulted with at a moment's notice, which this did happen. His name is Edwards. The defense would ask this court to ignore the state of Indiana's claim, unsubstantiated with any reports concerning its analysis of the geofencing evidence, until the defense has had a chance to depose the specific expert that put the map together that the state of Indiana has not identified. It is a simple question. Who put the map together? That is the person that the defense wants to depose. So this was another defense motion to compel and sanction. Oh no. My link was not working to it. Okay, so number 16 again. Remember again, I've just gone through these and pulled out before and after and anything I could find about these tag words. February 15th of 2017, Lieutenant Brian Bunner of the Cyber Crimes, this is the original digital forensics dude, the Indiana State Police conducted an extraction of the data from Liberty German's cell phone using a program called Celebrite. Said information was downloaded via Celebrite and several reports were generated therefrom. When the defense was unable to locate and discover the data from Liberty German's phone, it sent an email to Prosecutor McLeland on June 17th of 2023 requesting a copy of that data from Liberty German's phone, as it had not yet been provided to the defense. Clearly, the state of Indiana possessed the 2017 Celebrite extraction and the data on the date they filed charges against Mr. Allen, October 28th. Remember that date. He wasn't arrested at the end of his interrogation, his custodial interview, his non-custodial interview. He wasn't arrested until 2 days later, as well as when the defense requested the data from Liberty German's phone in its June 17, 2023 email. Despite being in the state of Indiana's possession for over 5 years, when charges were filed against Richard Allen on October 28th of 20, or maybe I'm wrong about the arrest there in the files charges. I should redact that until I know. To Mr. Allen's attorney on September 8th, 2023, 9 months after it was due to the defense. However, even upon receiving the extraction and data from Liberty's cell phone, the defense was unable to immediately focus on that. So, it's not our problem. Like, if you couldn't focus on it because you had other things, okay, I'm not reading the rest of it. Included in the 2017 Celebrite extraction of Liberty German's phone was a video purportedly taken on February 13th of 2017. And these are things that we're going to get into when we get into Cecil's testimony of 2013, containing the image of Abby Williams and a purported suspect. The state of Indiana failed to produce this extraction to the defense until September 8th of 2023, 9 months later than the discovery rules mandated. This is what a spreadsheet would be great for. Additionally, in 2019, Indiana State Police, perhaps with outside assistance, conducted additional extractions. So this is 2019 is Cecil, who did additional extractions using, now I forgot, Magnet, Axiom. Because they're constantly making software updates and getting better at the extraction. Software is getting better. So from 2017, it just seems to me like a no-brainer that everybody should want there to be continuous software, like, to run her phone, especially. And obviously, like, if the defendant's phone, like, we don't hear anything about that, but like, to run those through the programs to see if something else can be extracted with the newest technology. I feel like if the defense was saying this, nobody would be mad about it, you know. And then as that happens, obviously, you know, there should be reports. But with Cecil, like, I don't know. I do think another hearing should be taking place. In my opinion, another hearing should be taking place on this topic because didn't you have Cecil's newest, latest report. Maybe the judge had it before she made her ruling. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. The newer extractions have been discussed by Indiana State police officers in deposition, but has not been located in any discovery provided by the prosecutor in any usable fashion the defense has requested the state of Indiana to provide. And like, this is another beef I have of like going back through all of these and like it sucks, and it would be very frustrating to be sent a discovery that is, you know, 6+ years long and to not have everything titled properly. Like, it annoys me when things don't start with the date. It really annoys me when people save documents and they don't start with the date. But just because it annoys me, does that mean shit? No, it doesn't mean anything. Like, you know, like it could be frustrating, but just because you can't find something doesn't mean that it's not there. And then like throughout all of this crap, you end up finding out, oh, it was there. Like, I don't know. I can't say that definitively for everything. But again, there's loopholes for this. And there isn't anything that I can see that is a conceivable bad faith exclusion of evidence based on the rules of evidence of inculpatory and exculpatory. I just don't see where that would be a winning argument during this trial or on appeal, you know, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a nerd. So additionally, a certain extraction page 5 through 11 software program. So pages 5 through 11. So they have something called Axiom has been provided to the defense. This is Cecil's report. The defense has been able to open said extraction, but apparently needs some type of special licensed program in order to open the extraction. The defense believes that the state of Indiana has not provided the special program. I don't think they're allowed to do that, to provide the special program, which is magnet to the defense. But then again, you know, like they should have an expert that can access the software. Like they can have the software, but I don't think it's just available to any old, you know, street layman. 23, as a part of a reasonable investigation, the defense would have wanted the opportunity to compare the 2017 extraction to the 2019 extraction to see what difference might exist and the reasons for those differences, and would have further wanted the exercise that opportunity on or before December 14th, when the state of Indiana was required to turn over all extractions of Libby German's phone, so that the defense has had as much time as possible to analyze Libby German's phone extractions. There is no justification for submitting the 2017 cell phone extraction or any other of the extractions and data 9 months after they was due to the defense. Ugh. Especially when the state of Indiana had the evidence in its possession for almost 6 years prior to charging Mr. Allen. Additionally, the defense believes that there are multiple documents which still have not been disclosed to the defense on, or that the defense cannot locate. So, giving themselves a little out here, it's like, is either or. Like, be definitive about it. Is it you can't locate it, or they didn't give it to you? Because the difference between those two words is a chasm of we can't locate it versus discovery not being disclosed. That's annoying. Like, let me read it for you one more time. This is what the defense says. we still have not been disclosed to the defense, or that the defense cannot locate in the massive discovery provided to the defense. There's a big difference right there. On November 4, 2019, the state of Indiana sent a geofence warrant to Google requesting activity from any device in a specified distance and within a specified time of the area in which the body of Abby and Libby were located. On the same day, it appears Google returned data in a spreadsheet, which we've heard them testify to now, which contains 18,632 lines of data, each relating to a particular device ID. Generally, there is information received in follow-up request, which identifies subscriber data with device IDs to date. No such spreadsheet or data has been located by the defense, nor can any such information be found by the defense in spite of a request to the prosecution. Then how do they know this? Detective Murphy testified in his deposition that law enforcement had pings and other phone information related to Elvis Field's phone on 2/13/2017. To date, no such data has been located by the defense, or the defense cannot locate that information in the massive discovery dump. Despite good faith efforts to locate said evidence, if it exists. Okay, I have to take a break. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and highlight that to see. Or was I just read it? Well, this is 2019 though. So it's kind of an answer, but it's not a comprehensive answer, right? Oh, what's going on? It will let me overlay all three colors on this. Oh, well, I know what yellow means. Okay, so I'll just read this part because it's like super fast, and this wraps up like there's two on April on the same day. So I put the time so you would know. So April 29th of 2024 at 12:09 a.m. The defense's the state's motion in limine. So they are wanting scratched. What the heck? So weird. Any reference to geofencing or any testimony from Kevin Horan, state's geofencing expert, about geofencing, or the findings from any geofence search that is not relevant or is for the purpose of confusing the issues or has the potential to mislead the jury in violation of Rule 401, Indiana Rule of Evidence 401, and burden is on the opponent, this limine hearing, to show why it is relevant. Mullins versus State. I'm not reading all that. Relevant evidence may be excluded if its probative value is substantially outweighed by its prejudicial effect. Evidence may be excluded if it confuses the issues. I'm pretty sure in one of these is where I read that. Case I was talking about. This is Indiana, so that's not it. That's Indiana, that's not it. Might have been that one. No, it's Court. Okay. So I'm going to take a break right here just for a second. I've needed a cough for I don't even know how long now. It's going to feel so forking good. Just give me like 2 minutes. Sorry, I don't have anything cool to entertain you guys with. My mic's not been on. Okay. I wonder no one was answering. Is someone, so you're hearing static? Hey Frank, hey Ron Logan, hey Joe Smo. Oh yeah, were you there? I don't think I mean, I don't know who many people are, but like, if you're there and I'm there during the trial, introduce yourself. Yeah, those will be cut out. Like, I don't want anyone disparaging any victims, murder victims, or their families. That's the only rule I have, really. Otherwise, you can bully each other, you can go back and forth. Hopefully, it's respectful, but well, my mods kind of know the rules on that. Yeah, like that right there. Sorry, Pitbull, but no, I'm not going to talk about them, like, make any kind of reference or innuendo. I don't believe owners have anything to do with this. Yeah. Sure wasn't proven. I don't know how anyone can. So I mean, no, I'm not sorry. Justify Perlmutter's, their big expert witness, like justify her inadequacies and her unprofessionalism. I just don't. I don't know how you can get around that. No. It's completely irrelevant. All right, let me go to the bottom really quick because there is a lot of chat I missed because I've been off screen. Hey, Delphi Dummies. Hey, Bojangles. Hey, Deb. Hey, Jenny. How are you? CJK. What's up? I see ya. You're visible. No. Four Pits, you're about to get blocked, dude. Mind yourself. You know the rules here. It is staticky. Answer me one more time. Huh. And anyone else besides Lake? Yes, they're static. I don't even really know what that means. I'm going to have to listen on my phone. Oh, how about now? Yeah. It's got to be my mic. How about now? Nope. Yeah. How in the hell have you guys listened for this long? That's terrible. Testing. 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 Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay, I just unplugged my microphone altogether. I'm using the speaker on my computer. Gonna check it. Why can't I? Okay. I need to do a longer test because apparently I don't know how to rewind my own damn stream, and I can't find the freaking where I want to test the sound because I'm only doing it for like 2 seconds. Oh, okay. Now I'm gonna see what it sounds like one more time. And if it sounds like shit, I'm ending the stream. Oh, so annoying. I guess it sounds okay. Is it low? Is it high? On my phone, I had it all the way turned up and that was too much, but I don't know. It's super annoying because the microphone that I have was a gift from my cousin, and it's a pretty, I wouldn't spend that much money on a microphone, but it was nice of him. So it's a probably middle of the road. I mean, it's not like thousands of dollars, but it's not like under two. So I don't know. No one, that's what Burn was bringing up. And like, I hear static. That's my freaking microphone. So annoying. Yeah, ha ha, Joe Smo. Making fun of me, I see. Okay. People are saying it's fine now. Ugh, no. I wouldn't listen to me if that high pitched like static. I'm probably gonna end up like, oh my god, I don't even know how. I don't have any storage left on this freaking computer. So what I will need to do is download 2.2 hours and 9 minutes of this live and run it through. I don't even know. I don't even remember how to do it except through like um just the audio only through Audacity to get it out because I'm not listening to that shit. So it's like 2 hours of wasted time unless I can find somewhere to download it, which I'm gonna have to download from YouTube because my StreamYard is full. Hey, Truth and Justice. I'm not buying another freaking mic either. I'm gonna have to get out that nasty snowball. Oh, really? I didn't do a whole 26. Yeah, see right here. Ha ha, you're so funny. I may try it. Maybe it did get a little bit wet. There is some water spots that are literally driving me insane. I should have gone and got my Norwex window cloth to get the water drops off of my screen. So maybe I will just drop it in a big bag of rice. Hey, Lone Pony. I can't believe 43 of y'all are still here for this nonsense. A Colt sweatshirt. I am a Hoosier. I'm an Indianer. course I'm gonna be wearing a cold sweatshirt. Yeah, that's true though. Not You never know with them. I like squirrel meat a little bit. Depends on where it's from though. It's all meat. Oh, I root for the Chiefs when they're not playing, Colts. I like all other. Oh, yes, True Crime Web. Since I'm probably gonna end this stream and, like, start another one because I don't have I don't even know. I bought, like, so many thumb drives, and I've been trying to, like, download and clean out my iCloud and clean out this damn computer, and I don't know how to do it, and, like, one whole thing of gigabytes is, like, in something that's locked to me, that's because this is my daughter's computer. So, like, all of her stuff is still on here, and I can't access it, and I don't know how to get rid of it. I need a person. I need an expert to come and, like, do something with this thing, or I need a new one. Getting ridiculous, but I don't use it for anything other than this. I'm not buying one, Like, how do you justify that? If I used it for work, that'd be something different. But just to buy a new computer or to pay $45 for StreamYard? No. Like, any creator knows that other than super chats, this you don't get reimbursed for the money that you put in by monetizing. It's just literally not there. Okay, so True Crime Web. Well, now I forget the name of it. I'm gonna have to look it up again. It was wild. Where can I let me look it up on my phone? Because I immediately, when I heard this story, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is literally perfect for you," because it's been a bone of contention for years and years and years over this being an accidental death or homicide. Like, it's wild. It's on. I listened to it on 10 to Life. Anna Elise. But yeah, it was basically this little girl. She had some issues. Um, Like, she was born premature, so there was some issues with, like, she couldn't really move, so the nannies go in, and they can't find her. Like, she's not in her bed, and they know, like, it's not like she can get up and, get out of her bed on her own, so where is she? The parents were just kinda like, "Nah, she's probably around this high-rise apartment somewhere." They were, like, super rich, or so they seemed to, you know, um, be purporting, and the whole time this is what the ev the this is in Mexico. This is what the evidence, once everything was done, and they recorded it and did not edit out. They published their unedited discovery of this little girl, because it was like 9 days. So 9 days later, she was found in between the footboard of her bed and the mattress. Now, 9 days. It shows them digging through all of the it looks like one of those, like, a duvet, because they were unbuttoning it, and then, like, rolled up in a sheet is this little girl's body at the in the footboard, in the between the footboard and the mattress of this bed. And they're saying that she was there the whole time. There was no evidence. Obviously, this is a decomposing body, so they're saying that because of the way it was tightly wrapped, that's why no one smelled. Because there was a lady came over and stayed, like a friend of theirs, and slept in this little girl's bed. Like, your daughter's missing, and you let anyone in her room? That's crazy. I would want to have it perfect just for when she returns. But this lady was like, no, I slept in that bed. I made that bed every day. It was the first thing I did, you know. But when the scene first when you first see them recording their crime scene, the lab come in, the bed is made, and you see the footboard and everything. This bed is the footboard is in the middle of the room. It's only the backboard or whatever that's called. I'm forgetting. Is the only one is connected with any wall. So the footboard is in the center of this room, and they walk in and like the bed is made. I couldn't see anything. But obviously by day 9, like, they're starting to smell things. But I would love to see you reenact this because it's an old case, and it's been like a bone of contention of whether basically one of the parents or the au pairs did it. Um, oh, I found it. I think it's an accident. I really do. I think that she was there the whole time, and which is crazy, but I watched the whole thing and then I found the actual footage and yeah, I really do, but a reenactment from you would be perfect. Paulette Gibara Farah is the name of the little girl. Paulette Gibara Farah, Farah. It is it possible the child was placed later? I don't know. That's why you need to reenact this scene to see because I don't see how when they're unwrapping her, like it takes them a while to like go from the made bed to where they eventually discover her tiny little body, which is so sad. But like my thing is just like, how did no one know she was there? That's but when you hear it and see it all, I'm just like, I really think this is possible. I think she was here this whole time because there was a huge investigation. It was wild. Yeah, they said that like the smell really wasn't evident to them. Like they didn't really smell anything. And but the when they came in and did a search in like 2 something in the morning. I don't know if that's a time difference, maybe it was not I don't know. But uh, they said the smell was when they opened the door to her room, it was very strong and offensive. So it's like, I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna end this stream and then I'm gonna restart the stream. Um, because apparently with this unsolicited StreamYard price jump from 17 to 45, you're supposed to be able to start the same stream over. Um, so I'm gonna try to do that. I wish I could put it in my own damn chat so you could find it. Let me see. Yeah, what am I talking about? I'm never gonna be able to find something like that. All right. Thank you all for putting up with that static. I'm going to, when the chat goes up, I'm going to review the chat before I take it down and edit out the static because that's gross. But I guess I'm just going to go with my internal microphone and go ahead and finish out some more of this. All right. Bye. For like 5 minutes.